Maybe what happens with these cats, it's certain times of the day. That one just got bumped again too. I gotta get more bait. Things are happening. Turns out these cats are a little finickier than we thought. When it comes to fishing ponds, small rivers, even little lakes, from the bank, you really don't gotta get overcomplicated when you're catfishing. A box of weights, swivels, hooks, a couple of rods, some bait, rod holders, you're pretty much good to go. I kind of like to keep it with 2 setups. A float rig can be really, really good. A lot of times you'll have cats suspend a lot more than I think people believe they do, and this is a good way to check that. Nothing complicated. This is a bobber I think I found on the bank somewhere. A little weight, swivel, a leader of some sort. I like monofilament just so that if the hook does get hung on something, I can break it off, lose the hook, keep all this stuff. Just seems to be a little better system, but really straightforward. Slip sinker, I can adjust my weight or my depth so I can go from 2 feet to 20 feet, however I want. You know, just sliding that, regular old slip bobber. And then of course, you gotta have some sort of bottom rig. No roll, this is a no roll sinker. You can run a bank or a pyramid on a snap clip if you want, but same principle. Weight, bead, swivel, and then monofilament again, just so that I can lose that hook, keep the rest of the good stuff, re-rig. Real simple, real straightforward. You can catch catfish wherever. One of the biggest things I think when it comes to catfishing is bait and having fresh bait. Here I got a couple of bluegills that my dad caught a little bit ago. We'll cut a couple of them up and get them prepared for chasing kitties. You know, you also want to take into account, you know, earlier in the year, if your lake has shad or if a body of water has shad in it, you'll find a lot of them just floating on the bank. So it's real easy to get bait. You know, you don't have to work too hard. This took a couple of casts with a jig by some timber and, you know, boom, we got bluegill. So as long as you got bait, you know, the forage base, that's what's in that body of water. Here it's a lot of bluegill, so that's what those channels are eating. You don't have to get too complicated. And then I'll usually go head, and that headpiece is one of my favorites, just because it stays on a lot better. So if you're casting at a distance, it tends not to fly off, but it still has a lot of that. There's a lot of good stuff in there. And then what I'll do is I'll just go down and segment the body and try to keep, you know, a little bit of this juicy goodness, the guts, and some meat, because you need a little bit of meat for your hook to hold on to. The skin will help too, but a little bit of that meat goes a long way. So I'll go into chunks. I know guys get into, you know, the weeds on filleting, and trust me, I mess with it too, but I think at the end of the day, if you just cut them into basically little steaks, put them on a hook, you can be catching channel cats. Should also mention that do this in states where it's legal too, right? Like in this state, we can use bluegills as bait. I know there's some out there that you can't, which is a little ridiculous, but it is what it is. If I knew there was 15, 20-pound channel cats in a body of water, the potential for it, you could run that whole half, but otherwise, just cut it up, split it up. I'll go like a meat side, and since this bottom piece doesn't have a whole lot of meat, I'll just goop some of those guts on there and we're good to go. Then you just take your hook. Like this bottom rig, I'll be able to throw out a lot farther. So for that, I'll go with this head piece. And then on the circle hook, I'll just run it right up through his mouth. Just like that. You always want to make sure, you know, whether sucker minnow, shad, whatever you are, when you're hooking your bait on, just clear that hook point. A lot of times there'll be a scale or something that'll hang on there, and you'd be really amazed at how often that'll prevent you from catching a fish. But clear that hook point. We're ready to toss this bad boy out. See if we can't catch us a channel cat. Rod holder. I want to get her nice and seated. And then just kind of give her a lob out there. Relatively shallow, which is fine. And in this setup, like this rod and reel, I don't have a clicker or anything. So with that circle hook and that no roll, I'll just want to make sure I get tight, fairly tight line. It's still going to be hard because the wind's blowing so hard today, but keep a fairly tight line. And then that way, when that fish does bite, this rod can start to load up. It's a little soft in the tip. This is kind of like a 7'6" medium heavy. So I got a little bit of softness up there, which will help. But otherwise, that fish will probably hook himself by the time we know that it bit, which is perfect. That's what we want. Now we just wait. Just add catfish. Keep an eye on your other bait. Just give this a little lob there. I'd say probably like a really good one for in here would probably be like 10, 12 pounds. But a lot of them are 2 to 4 or 5 pounds, like fun to catch, you know. I got bit like right where that bobber is now, but. Oh boy. That one at least hooked himself, huh? Oh, cool. You gotta love it when they make it easy on you. You don't have to do anything. It's the beauty of the circle hook is they help themselves. Nice little specimen. We'll just flip them up on the dock, bank them off the chair real quick, and we got ourselves a nice channel cat. Man, if you're gonna eat one too, that would be a perfect eating size. I might even need a pliers to get them out. Those dang kitty mouths are tough. Oh, come on. Got him like just by the skin. And he's just cold enough that he's not overly spunky about trying to fight me on this. There we go. Heck yeah. Nice fat one. On the bobber. Simple, simple, simple. That's all you gotta do to just catch fish. And catch channel cats at that. Thanks, bud. Well, now we need more bobbers and we need them on the break, right? Like, I need more meat. Chum that one in, put a fresh chunk on here. Just go ahead and put that right back. Been drifting across the flat, we'll just set it where it gets bit. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I didn't quite put the rod holder in there that good. Oh yeah. We found a little hot spot. That bobber got bit just a little bit ago. Well, it's actually gotten bit a couple times, but just caught one over here a little bit ago. So instead of being dumb and letting this one keep not doing anything over where it was, I just moved it over to the same little corner. There's kind of a little point here with the wind blowing in on it. And that is a very croaky pond channel cat. Whoa. Let this guy get back to swimming. Sweet. My feet are soaked. But yeah, here we're thinking, oh, bottom's too slimy. Bottom rig's no good, but this is essentially the same thing. Like your bait's still laying on the bottom, but your bobber is now just a visual, earlier indicator than them feeling the pressure of the rod. Like when you had it in the rod holder on the bank, you know? Which is cool. I guess I've done it in like small rivers before where you don't really know the depth. You just throw it out and it's sitting there and it doesn't really move and then it gets bit. But this is cool. It's like a little wind-blown point. I'm trying to look at this bobber over here, which is still up. And yeah, you can see that fish as he's swimming with it, but he doesn't feel any other pressure than whatever weight is on your line, which is like, you know, ½ ounce. But that sometimes that tension of the rod we'll have them, they'll spit it. But this we can just get on top of it a little sooner. Coyotes are yipping, croakers are croaking, catfish are biting. I love it, I love it. Should I hit him? Got him. Sunset kitty. We just lost, well, I just lost one. I'm not trying to throw us into it. I lost one. And I told Kyle to go grab the other rod and throw it exactly where I lost it. And 20 seconds later, we caught this guy. Same one, different one, doesn't matter. Point is, we're catching fish on the slip cork. That's cool, man. God, nothing like watching a bobber go down.